Hey there, YouTube. I'm here again today to help you skip the rules for Aunt Agatha's Attic. If you enjoy what I'm doing, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below, give this video a like, and even consider supporting the Patreon. But first thing you're going to want to do in Aunt Agatha's Attic is separate the cards into the 3 separate piles. You'll have a blue deck, a green deck, and a purple deck. There's only 2 cards in the blue deck. Don't worry, there's not any more. Next, you're going to want to shuffle up the cards in the purple deck, and then you're going to deal them out based on this chart right here, which, bam, I will blow up for you. I'm going to set up a 3-player game, which means I'm going to be dealing out 13 item cards, and then you're going to put 3 in the center. You can look at your personal deck, but don't let anyone else see the cards that are inside of your hand. Next, you're going to take the green pile of cards. You're going to make sure that everyone has a 1, a 2, and a 3 hug. So make sure everyone has those cards. The rest of the hugs can go back in the box. The blue deck you can set off to the side for now. You won't need it. So now let's talk about item cards, because that's how you're going to score points in this game. So an item card is really simple to understand. There's the name on the bottom, Beetle Brooches. You got some nice artwork, which will be the same on every single Beetle Brooches card. And also, in the top left-hand corner, the most important piece of information, that is the number of cards that are in the deck. So there are 8 glowing emeralds in this entire deck. There are 5 gilded skulls in this deck. There are 9 skeleton keys in this deck. It's a very simple system. Now, the other reason why that number is important is that is how you are going to score points. So every card, every item card that you have in your hand at the end of this round is going to score you 1 victory point. Not that impressive. However, if you were able to collect half of any particular card, you are going to score the number of points listed in the top left-hand corner. So I'll give an example. If at the end of the round I have 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 glowing emeralds, then I am going to score 8 points. If I reach half of the Beetle Brooches that I need, which would be 4, once again, I would score 7 points. Now, you'll notice on the glowing emerald, I stopped at 7. Why did I stop at 7? Because if you're able to get all of a card, so if I were to get 8 glowing emeralds, then I would get a wowie zowie, double that, and get 16 points. So now that you understand how the item cards work, you're going to take a look at your secret deck down here, and hopefully it's going to make a little bit more sense. You're going to look at what you have and kind of formulate your strategy for this particular round. So I just lucked out. I happen to have 3 coins right here, which means that's a guaranteed 6 points for me. That also means that I need to really be keeping my ears open for if anyone else is trying to trade me one of these cards, because there's going to be a lot of trading going on in this game. I also have 4 green emeralds, so once again, that's 8 points right there. Do I want to take that risk and try and get all 4, or do I want to try and focus on something else? But now you're going to know what's in your hand, and you're going to shuffle your deck. So you're going to shuffle your deck so you won't know where all those cards are. And once again, I will pop this handy dandy little guide right here, which is going to tell you how many cards to draw. So in a 3-player game, since that's what I've got it set up, I'm going to draw 6 cards into my hand, and this is going to be my starting 6-card hand. In a 4-player game, you'd have a 5-card hand, and it does change based on the player count. Once you've dealt yourself your item cards, you're also going to add the 1, 2, 3 of hugs, and now you have your starting hand. So once everyone has their starting hand and they're ready, you're going to flip the sand timer, and you are going to start the fast-paced, frantic trading. But let's first go over how that works. So when the timer is running, you're going to trade cards with other players to try and complete any sets of items that you desire. To trade an item, simply declare what you have to trade or ask other players for a specific item and what they're willing to trade for it. Trading happens simultaneously. Your strategy, negotiation tactics, and volume are all up to you. Now, each time you make a successful trade, draw a card from your personal deck and add it to your hand. If your personal deck runs out before time is up, you may still trade as much as you would like. However, you do not continue to get to draw cards, obviously. You can trade any number of cards, items, or hugs, but at least one side of the trade must have an item card in it. You can't just swap hugs for hugs. Now, you'll also notice that there's some items that are going to be at the center of the table. At any point during a round, you may take one of these cards and replace it with a card from your hand. Since this does not constitute a trade, though, you cannot draw a card from your personal deck after the swap. When the timer runs out, the lead player calls for all trades to stop, and your hands are scored. The lead player is going to be whoever wants to do the scoring pad. Now, you're going to want to be focusing on getting those sets of item cards. However, you can also trade your hug cards. Hug cards are not worth points at the end of the game, but by trading them and showing Aunt Agatha your generosity and camaraderie with your cousins, you might earn something even sweeter. That very special item is a magic mirror. Now, depending on your player count, and we'll go over that in a second, either 1 or 2 people who have the most points in hugs are going to receive the magic mirror, which will really help them on endgame scoring. So let's talk about scoring. The first thing you're going to want to do when scoring is count up the number of hugs everyone has. So right now I have 9 hugs. This player has 3 hugs, and we'll pretend that this player over here has 8 hugs. And the person with the most hugs is going to take the magic mirror. In a 3-player game, you will only give out 1 magic mirror. However, when playing a 4, 5, or 6-player version of the game, you will hand out a second magic mirror. Now, in the case of a tie, if there are more than 2 players tied for the most hugs, no magic mirror is awarded. Or if 1 player has the most and then 2 or more players are tied for second most, only the player with the most would get a magic mirror. If you can't find this in the rule booklet, that's because it's not explicitly there. I asked the designer himself. Once the magic mirror situation is handled, you can set your hugs off to the side. You can also set these cards off to the side. You're not going to utilize them or need them. You're going to take a look at the cards that you have collected and the cards that you have traded over the round. First thing you need to do is just count how many cards you have. So I have 8 cards. So I would score 8 points right here on the items part. And everyone would give you how many items they have to the lead scorekeeper, and they'd write it down. Next, you're going to want to look at how many half sets you have completed, because this is the most important way to score the game. So I did end up getting my 3 coins right there. However, I failed to get my 4 emeralds or my 3 gilded skulls or my 5 skeleton keys. So I only score my set bonus of 6 points. If I had been able to trade out, say, for instance, this glowing emeralds for this, now I would have 4 of these glowing emeralds, and I would get an additional 8 points, but c'est la vie, it was not to be. With your items and set bonuses written down, that is your entire score unless you have the magic mirror. If you have the magic mirror, then you are going to be able to double 1 of your set bonuses. So for this particular one, I would obviously double my 6, and I would get an additional 6 points for my mirror bonus. Once everyone's score is recorded, you are going to completely reshuffle everything and redo that for the second and third round. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game will be the winner of the game. If there is a tie, the player with the most hugs in the final round is going to win the game. If there is still a tie on the number of hugs, then the person with the fewest number of item cards in that final third round is going to be the winner of the game. And if there's still a tie, then you have to hug everybody and decide who's the best hugger between the hugged, tied players, and that player then wins the game. Now, before you start off the game, though, I do want to mention these last common questions about trading because they're very useful. Can I trade for stuff outside of the game or for cards I know are in my personal decks? No, you cannot trade for future favors or actual hugs, and you cannot trade for cards that you'll get later. Can we trade items back and forth to draw cards? No, your Aunt Agatha wouldn't be happy with this kind of fake collaboration. You can't trade items just to immediately swap them back and draw 2 cards from your personal deck. You can't game the game like that. But what if I give something away that I decide to want back later? That's fine. Your Aunt Agatha knows that people change their minds. She just wants you to abide by the spirit of not trading item cards just to draw cards. Can we lie about what we have to trade? No. Can I trade 1 item for an identical item? No way. What if we make a mistake? What if I think a player is offering me an item, but they meant that they wanted to receive that item and we make a bad trade? That's fine. Your Aunt Agatha understands that people make mistakes. Just undo the trade and don't draw a card. What if we're finishing a trade when the timer runs out? If you've agreed and are just handing over cards, finish it up. If you're still haggling, sorry, you missed your chance. But now, my children, fly and go play Aunt Agatha's attic. If you enjoy what I'm doing, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.